Good morning, everybody. My name is Tara Healey, and I'm the founder and director of MindtheMoment, the mindfulness program of Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. And if you've been joining for a while, you know that spiel. For anybody that is new, a very warm welcome to you. These practices are fully guided, about 12 to 14 minutes in length. We save time at the end for updates, announcements, and for anybody in the community to share a resource that you've come across, a book, a podcast, an app, something that has been helpful and supported your practice. If you have not yet opened the chat, because this is webinar format, please go ahead and open the chat and go to the drop-down menu and select everyone if that's your choice. And I'm gonna read a poem, which has been the poem for me all week. So if you were with me yesterday, you'll hear this again, The Peace of Wild Things by Wendell Berry. And I've been just kind of bookending the practice with that piece. As I have been saying this week, we're in just deeply troubling times. And I appreciate this community so much that we have the opportunity to get together. And, in many ways, it's just a practice of very deeply understanding ourselves, understanding our mental habit patterns, and through that, that it helps us align with our own values. It also, I think, extends compassion. When I was first starting to practice, one of the things that I noticed really early on was how busy my mind was. But that I also realized that it wasn't just my mind that was busy. This is the nature of minds. This is how minds operate. They secrete thought without being invited. But I was really learning quickly that I could see my own mental habit patterns with greater clarity and to bring some sense of kindness, that I'm not inviting these thoughts or these stories or these memories. But in this practice, there is a kind of allow is the word that I use a lot. Receptive is also the word that I use. And also realizing that we don't have to believe everything that we think, that we are developing. This practice is often called a wisdom practice. So we're just seeing clearly how things actually are, not how we wish they were or think they should be. So there's a lot of layers to this, but to give yourself the gift of this time, daily or daily-ish, is not only for you, but it's really for the benefit of all beings, of all the people you interact with, whether you're on the road driving or you're interacting with a colleague or a family member, that we're seeing when we've been provoked, when we feel contracted, and then breathing, letting mindfulness see that clearly. Because oftentimes, there's something called ordinary awareness, which is when you're mad or angry or contracted or upset, you see it. But in the practice, we're starting to see that something someone did or said has produced a chain reaction in us. But the practice helps us see that chain reaction sooner in the lineup. And so we can be more responsive and lower the reactivity, so we live with less regret. So I just, there's a lot of repetition in this practice, and I have always found that valuable because how I understand the practice in the very beginning and over, years, months and years of practice, you just keep uncovering layers. So anyway, I didn't expect to say that much, but somehow it felt important. So I'm going to kick it off with this poem by Wendell Berry. And I kind of have it committed to memory, but I don't fully trust that I'll remember the whole thing. So, the piece of wild things. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. Love that line. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. And so, with that, let's go ahead and move into a posture that feels like it's going to serve you today. And as always, you have options. Um, so, you can stand, you can lie down, you can be seated, whatever feels most supportive to you this morning, and that can vary from day to day. But go ahead and settle in and surrender your weight into the ground below. So nothing to hold on to, right? So you can feel the support of the earth beneath you. And on your own, just take a couple deep breaths. And that is just a way to help settle any surface tension from your activity this morning, making your exhalation a little bit longer. So you could do like a count in through the nose of 4 and a count out through the mouth of 7. And maintaining a posture that is engaged. So not too loose and not too tight. Aware of the points of contact with the body and the surface that you're on, just feeling into that point of contact. And notice other physical sensations from your movement this morning. So that could be a pulsing, a tingling, a vibration, temperature, bringing an attitude of receptivity and curiosity to the body and to the sensations that are happening in your body. And keeping it really simple, really simple. There's nothing else to do but just receive the sensations that your body is offering. And there may be a tone of pleasantness or unpleasantness in different parts of the body. It's all welcome. And take a moment to expand awareness to receive sound. So, sound that could be occurring in the room that you're in or even outside of the room. So, kind of a more wide open lens of awareness, receptive, and no need to even label what's making it. Literally, we're engaging hearing. And sometimes hearing is felt as a vibration. And really taking good care of yourself, bringing a lens of compassion and kindness to the body and mind, and softening any areas of your body where you are noticing holding and you could release a little bit. So moving from sound to back into the body, allowing sound to, of course, as it will, continue to do its thing. So just take a moment to hold the lens of awareness over the whole body. And see if you're being directed to one part of the body or another. And let your attention go there for a moment. And if you're holding the whole body, see if you can bring some ease yet remain engaged, connected in, not too soft, not too hard. Just this gentle holding, bringing awareness to the whole body. Kind, compassionate attention. And for the remainder of the practice, let's find an anchor, So again, remembering that we're not trying to stop thought. Thoughts are actually part of the meditation. So what we're deciding is when a thought has slipped in unnoticed and becomes noticed. That's a really good moment because you are in the driver's seat of your awareness. You know where your attention is. So mindfulness is this quality of being awake and aware and knowing it. The opposite is when we're lost in thought, when we don't know because we've been hijacked by a narrative of some kind without our inviting it. So, thoughts and what's on our mind, what we lean into and what we push away are all part of the practice. And in the formal practice that we're doing now, we're noticing, thinking or rejecting or judging or joyful. Whatever has arisen, you can be simple, just thinking, or you can be more specific. Release, soften your body, and return to an anchor. So, anchor could be breath sensation, literally anywhere in the body where you feel the sensations of the inhalation and the exhalation most easily. If breath is challenging, take your hands, place them on the top of your thighs, and the feeling of the point of contact could be your anchor. Or you could go back to sound, a consistent sound. So, I'm going to be silent for the next couple minutes as you select an anchor and work with that. And noticing where your mind is in this moment, and just gently releasing the memory or the planning. Soften your body and return to your anchor. As we bring this meditation to a close, may we be peaceful and at ease. May our heart be soft and open. May we be safe and protected, and our bodies healthy and strong. And may whatever benefit comes of our practice be of use to all beings everywhere. So, taking a moment to open the eyes. And as I mentioned, I'm going to bookend our practice today by reading the Wendell Berry poem again, and see if you can just turn your attention now to the words, using this as a meditation practice, a mindfulness practice. When despair for the world grows in me and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world and am free. So maybe just reorient to the room you're in, do a little bit of a stretch. And so a couple of announcements. I'm going to put this in the chat right now. So next week on Wednesday at 1 o'clock, Jeffrey Proulx, Proulx, Jeffrey Proulx, who's an associate professor at Brown University, will be our guest. So for those of you who have been joining our monthly series, it's called The Art and Science of Awareness. And we have been each month talking with a neuroscientist or a thought leader about their research in mindfulness or their experiences with mindfulness, how they got started, what they're learning. Jeffrey, most of them I have known. I've seen them present or I've known them personally, but Jeffrey is new to me. I have not personally met him. But I'm really excited about this conversation because his research is looking at how mindfulness mitigates the impact of stress and life events on underserved communities, but also first responders and police officers, but Indigenous communities, Black communities, adolescents. So I just want to put a plug in for that event. The link is right there, all the details, how you join, and share it because these are free and available to anybody. So please share widely. Jamie, so I recently watched the CNN special Dr. Ganjay Rupta reports, "It doesn't have to hurt. Your smart guide to a pain-free life." Oh, yes. So I just listened to that podcast with him. Focuses the Control Center for Pain. In the final section, he mentioned research on pain reduction through meditation. Very, very interesting. Jamie, thank you. And I would highlight that for anybody. Don't worry. Sanjay Gupta. So he spoke with Terry Gross, Fresh Air. And it's interesting. I'm glad you put that because I am going to, that's what I'm going to listen to again. Because the research and what he's finding, and this is not necessarily new because a lot of the neuroscientists that I have been tracking and following for years are also finding this, that that mindfulness can be more effective than meds. Now, I say can be very lightly, but I recommend listening to him. He's the real deal. He's somebody that I really admire and have followed. And I last year was experiencing some migraines, and it was sort of new to me, not something that I had before. And I found, just related to practice, just like a lot of resistance and wanting it to go away because it's a natural reaction when things are unpleasant. And so reminding myself to see if I can soften around it and receive it. And when I started to really see that I was contracting and was working to drop the resistance, and then the other part of this and working with pain or discomfort is to be open to what the results are from practice. In other words, there can be a tendency to be like, well, I'm doing it and it's not working. So, as counterintuitive as it sounds, it's like part of the practice is letting go of that outcome. And in a way, it's an allowance, a coexistence. And anyway, to me, the practice is all an experiment in trying. It's an empirical practice. So you test it for yourself over time, but watch the mind's tendency to say I'm doing it and it's not working. Anyway, um, so we still have time. We've got a few minutes for any other comments, questions. Oh, Charlene, love the poem. Can you share the name? Yes, yes, yes. So it's called The Peace of Wild Things by Wendell Berry. Wendell Berry is a Kentucky farmer, and he is remarkable. I've been mentioning him this week to everybody that I've been doing practices with. He's quite up there in age at this point. He's also, I think he's a Luddite, so I don't think he really even uses computers. Um, but Kentucky farmer has always had good farming practices. He's very wise. He has lots and lots of books. So the collected poems of Wendell Berry, but The Peace of Wild Things can be found in other of his writing too. But this is all dog-eared and just a great companion. So other thoughts, questions, observations about your own practice? Questions? Well, maybe I think we're done. I think we've yeah. So I just wish everybody a really peaceful, lovely weekend. Thank you, Barbara. So good to see you here. Any specific tips for practice? If you have ADHD. Yeah, Jamal, one of the things I would suggest is starting with more movement practices is a good way to go. So you're bringing mindful awareness to, say, even walking and feeling the movement and sensations of the body in walking. And again, with any of these practices, you can go out for a walk and just let your mind go, but you can bring mindful awareness to anything you do. So I think a helpful way to start is to bring awareness to kind of day-to-day, even habits like brushing teeth, more movement oriented. The other thing too, because there's so many different things that are being studied around mindfulness, that it's worth asking AI and see what they come up with. And Jamal, feel free to reach out to me. So if you go to AI and ask specific practices for ADHD, and you want to just run it by me, please feel free to email me. And we can kind of go back and forth on it. I'm going to make sure my email is in here. The other thing is there's a teacher who, when she got into practice, her children were really young and she was a single mother, and I think she had 5. And she was talking to her teacher. She is now a wonderful teacher, but she was talking to her teacher about, how do I possibly do this as a single person with 5 young children? And again, like the teacher said, so start to bring mindful awareness to what you're doing during the day. So that it's often called informal practice, and just a really good way to really kind of take it off the cushion and into the world. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for your comments, your questions, and I will see you next week. Okay.